What's up, everybody? It's me, Anu here. Welcome to episode number 26 of the Just Keep Jamming podcast, broadcasting live from my garage here in Kailua Kona, Hawaii. It's me, Anu here. This week, I am so excited to have my best friend, my tita, the girl that I grew up with since we were 13 years old and made me into the woman I am today. My besticle on the right-hand side, Miss Kimié Miner. Give it up for my girl, Kimié. Can I get a woo woo?
Hello. Hi. I love that. I think that's the first time you've ever introduced me as your besticle. So I will take that gladly.
No.
Because it's one of the things I love the most about you is your sense of humor. So thank you so much.
You strange sense of humor.
Beautiful tonight. I just feel like I haven't seen you. You look so young, youthful, glowing. You look beautiful.
Thank you. You look beautiful too.
Thanks.
You really do.
I'm in my creative writer outfit today. I was in a writing session right before this. So
you were writing new music? Is that what you're writing?
Yep. Yeah.
Hell to the I can't wait to hear them all. Yep. So Kimie, just for the people who might be living under a rock and don't know who you are, will you please share with us about a minute and a half worth of talking? Who are you?
Yeah. I'm Kimié Miner. My name means a branch of oneself. It's Japanese, actually not Hawaiian. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, mentor, and mama bird. I'm also kind of like a mamapreneur. I like to say like an entrepreneur. But I really am just curious. I'm curious in all parts of life, and I'm super passionate about music. And obviously I want to find a way to make the most out of life and out of music. So that's why I'm so curious about it. What else can I tell you?
Tell us about the Grammys.
Oh, yeah. Well, I should say I had a bunch of kids back to back, and I was inspired to put out a Hawaiian lullaby album, and that ended up being nominated for a Grammy. So I got to go to the Grammys, and I actually presented at the Grammy, the pre-show, the show that's not televised, but where most of the awards are given out. And it was amazing to represent Hawaii. And I think that that's like really a strong platform of mine, is like to make sure that all the voices and all the styles and all the people of Hawaii and their talents are kind of like out there in the world and to be represented. It's definitely a main kind of goal of mine, is because I think it's, people don't know how amazing the talent here is. And we have a lot to say and a lot of beauty to share. And so that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do too. But also, I'm glad that this is our topic today, because I have been in all of my fields, and music really, I started music and I fell in love with music because it's therapy for me.
Absolutely. Music is such therapy. And that brings us into what we're talking about today. I wanted to have a different subject on each of the podcasts in here, season 3 of Just Keep Jamming. And, mental health is a big staple of our conversations each week. But this topic I wanted to get into is the topic of letting it go. Yes. How do we let that shit go? There are books, tons of them, about this subject and about how not to give a beep. And, but sometimes it's really hard to apply that to our lives, because I don't know, I do care. And I think that it's scary to not care. I have a weird thing with people who don't give up beep. So like, how do you not though? But there's a balance of doing it where you're not caring too much that it's going to hold you back from life. So yeah, like in the vein of this whole letting it go, I think we can also talk about forgiveness today, and how does one, really forgive and move on? Do you forgive and forget? I've been going through a lot of personal issues right around now. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because as much as I want to share all the details of my life, I have to be a little discreet and not, divulge too much personal stories, but I do want to get as deep as possible, because I want to learn, from us just talking and working it out. So let's dive right in. So I found online a few, like a list, just like how we did last week with McKenna Maduli. We talked about ways to self-love. I found a list on ways that you can let go. So I thought we could just go through one by one and just expand as much as we can on each of these things. So let's talk about it. But let me just define what letting go might mean. I'm going to talk about that first. Hold on. Here we go. It says, no matter what people say, it is certainly not easy to let go of things that live in your mind, situations that affected you emotionally, negative thoughts, past worries, anxieties, the people who came and left. Is it worth holding on to those thoughts? Is it really easy to let go of such things? Does freeing your mind from the negative thoughts look effortless? Unquestionably, letting go of all the shit that life throws at you is not a piece of cake, but it is important to let go in order to live in the moment, to stay happy and healthy, and most importantly, for calmness of mind. So we all know what stress can do to our bodies. And so, what can it do to the mind? Of course, like it's just a nonstop chatter. And we call that the monkey mind. I learned about that in rehab. But this is saying letting go is about embracing self-love, being in the present moment, practicing mindfulness, kicking out the negative thoughts, and experiencing inner happiness in daily life. And then literally the definition of letting go that I found online is the process of freeing yourself from obsessing thoughts and unhappy feelings. Okay, so it seems like for me, I can relate to that as far as like this cycle in my head. I repeat the same obsessive thoughts when I'm thinking about maybe a fight that I had with somebody or an email that really pissed me off, for example. I just replay it in my head over and over like a bad record. Do you feel like is what you do too?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like,
crying about crying about crying about crying. And you just keep thinking about it and then you cry about thinking about it. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
So like that's pretty much what I'm going through right now. So I'll just give you guys a little background story. Like I was done dirty by one of my best friends and she just broke my heart as far as something that she thought was really important in her life. She took it upon herself to like tell this secret that I didn't want to be told, that I trusted her with. She told it because she thought that it was the right thing to do, is to tell a secret based on her morals. And it just caused a lot of drama in my life. So I want to be able to let go of that drama badly, but I can't sometimes. Like I just keep obsessing about it over and over. We wrote each other off as far as like, hey, we don't need to be in each other's lives anymore. But I still think about her and it and the situation like all the time. So I'm like desperately trying to let that go. Do you have something in your life that you want to share? You don't have to if you don't want to, but is there something that you want to like try to let go and apply these stories to?
Yeah, I would say letting go of control is my biggest problem because I grew up in chaos as a kid. So as soon as I had my own independence, and my name literally means the independent one, a branch of oneself, of your own self. So like as soon as I could control my own environment, I wanted to keep myself safe from being hurt by anyone else. And so that's been my biggest thing now that I have kids. I'm very like, I have such a hard time just letting go of control because I'm scared that they're going to get hurt because I was hurt as a kid from all the chaos that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't seem like I had a say in anything. So as soon as I could have my own control, I wanted it. I didn't want to let it go.
So how does that look in your life right now when you're trying to get control? Does that mean you're not working with certain people or you don't let a lot of people help you? Is that what the lack of?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I give help freely, but I don't ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I yeah, I have a lot of things that I'm working through right now, actually. And I've been reading this book, Seed of the Soul. Have you heard of that book? That's like
No, I
Oprah's
haven't.
nightstand book. So if you ever watch an
Ooh.
Oprah interview, she's like, "What's on your nightstand?" It's always Seed of the Soul. Gary Zukav. So I read it once, but like it's just so much information. But the aha moment for me was like, why am I so conflicting? Why do we live life in a loop? And why am I doing
A
this?
loop.
Yeah. And it's really like you probably hear they have so many different analogies or ways to say this, but it's like fear and love, right? The good wolf and the bad wolf, whatever. There's like
Oh,
these two things that pull at you. And so when you're living good and everything is good, you're on the good side, right? But you can also have this other side of your ego or your personality. And so it's actually called a splintered personality or something like that, where it's like where you're having a war in your mind. And so I can let go of control completely because I feel safe and I feel love and I don't feel fear. But then the other side of me starts kicking in, and then that one starts winning. And then, I lose everything that I was working on and I have to try again to remember love and looking at things that way. So that has been a huge struggle of mine, I think, since I had first gained independence when we became boarders, 14 years old. I've never, ever lived with my parents again. And so that was like a big thing for me, was now that I have kids and a partner and like business and teammates and everything, it's like I can't control everything and I have to like set up boundaries. You can have safe, healthy boundaries, but you have to come from a place of love and not fear.
Totally. No, you're nailing it. I was actually just typing out what I was going to say after this. And you're like taking the words like right off of my typing. Like you're nailing it with the love versus fear thing. I'll just share what I was talking about. Cause like I always share with you guys, I get really bad anxiety. I've suffered with anxiety, and I get anxiety to even answer the phone sometimes, when sometimes it's somebody that wants to help me, like potentially a new manager or, a friend just checking in.
Me.
And yeah, her. And I get like weirded out with the phone ringing. Like, why are they calling? Oh my God. And my mind starts going into loops of like fear. It's all fear. But then sometimes like I'm like my fear is under control, or so I think. So I have to ask myself, why am I not answering this phone call? Is this a boundary that I'm creating because I can't really take on a phone call randomly to mess up my day when I'm in my workflow? Because that might be a healthy boundary that I'm not answering it, which would come from a place of love. But if it's a fear-based decision that to not answer, that's a place of fear. And then I don't want to, live my life that way. You don't want to make your decisions out of fear every day.
Yeah. So I think the aha moment for me, because I've heard this, I've read millions of books, I get this concept, but I can see it in a macro way. Like, this is why there's war and this is why we all matter. I get it. But when it's on a micro level, just me and one person, or like in my small little bubble, it's much harder to see it. And the aha moment for me was when he said, you decide, you are responsible for your choices and you are responsible for everything that happens to you in your life. And you've heard that and you're like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I get it. But then when he says like, it's all about your intention. So what is your intention behind every single thing you're doing? So if you're like, no, I don't, whatever, like whatever you're saying or doing, what do you really mean that? Like, why are you saying that? What is the intention behind that? And I think that's the loop that we keep going in. And that's the war of the two sides, is you're never gonna be on it all the time, And he talks about horizontal path. You can take a horizontal path or you can take a vertical path. And the vertical path is when your personality or your ego and your soul are in alignment with your soul, with your purpose. And that's when you have true intention of like, why? Like, just sit. If everyone just sat and thought for a minute before they sent the text, before they answered the call, before they said the word they were going to say, and just thought like, well, what do I actually want out of this? Like, do I want help? Okay, then answer the phone. Do I really just need time to be by myself? Then do that. But like, have the true intention of your soul of why you're doing what you're doing, because you have to live with the consequences. Every choice you make, that's your choice.
And only you can really know that, right? You're only lying to yourself if you're lying about it.
And how many times do we do that where we're like, no, my intention is this, we're like, but is it really, or is it something deeper, And so you have to do like 7 layers deep of really, really asking yourself. And that's why they recommend things like meditation and sitting quiet so that you can hear your real voice, your real answers, and not just your ego talking to you like, well, you should do this, you should do that. It's like, let's get deep.
Totally.
Let's get deep.
Girl, you're on, I can tell you're on a path right now. You're on a path of self-discovery. You're on a journey, a soul-searching odyssey, as I like to call it.
I am.
I can tell this is pretty exciting because
you texted me today. I'm like, oh, sure.
No, totally. I know it's always a thing of like, boundaries with time, making sure you can, but I know this is something that you wanted to do.
And I like that it's divine. You're like allowing the universe and a divine timing to happen. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes don't even know what the future holds and just kind of going for it. Well, okay. There's this list. I'm going to put it in the chat so that you guys can follow along here on Zoom in our Patreon Zoom room where everyone is up in her enjoying this visual with us. But so the first one it says is this is a way, these are all ways to let go of maybe your baggage or the bad shit that might be holding you back in life. So it says, number one, create a positive mantra to counter the painful thoughts. And I totally know Kimie is a mantra girl. It says how you talk to yourself can either move you forward or keep you stuck. Often having a mantra that you tell yourself in times of emotional pain can help you reframe your thoughts. For example, says clinical psychologist Carla Manley, PhD, instead of getting stuck in, I can't believe this happened to me, try a positive mantra such as, I am fortunate to be able to find a new path in life, one that is good for me. Yeah. What's your mantra,
Yes.
Kimie?
I mean, I have so many mantras, but it's the same thing, like intention of like, you can say like, God, this is so bad. Or like, I want this to be this. Like you can say what you want. Let's say you're in a bad relationship and you're like, God, this relationship sucks. This is not what I want. This is not what I want. You say something like that. Or you could say, I want a loving and harmonious relationship. And you put that like positivity into the air. I mean, I really believe that there's something, whatever you guys believe, there's something out there, that there's a higher thing that's ready to answer what your prayers or to listen to you or to guide you, but you have to ask for it. You have to set that intention. And one thing that's been getting me through my day, because I have a lot of responsibilities holding my household together, like my kids and stuff. And so I'm like, gosh, I have to get up and I have to do this. I have to have, and I really been doing that. I get to wake up with my kids at 6 a.m. I get to, because I have tragically lost someone young in our lives that we didn't expect. And I know what it's like to lose someone like that. And so the fact that I have my kids and I have these responsibilities, I get to. So I think changing your narrative is the first step.
Narrative. Totally. I find that I can do it when I'm thinking about it, but I got to practice even when the going gets tough, maintaining it. Like when I'm talking about my situation with others, like just filling them in or something, I'll find myself going right back to the shit talking style or like, God, I can't believe that bitch did that to me or something like that, rather than just maintaining it. Even when the going gets tough, staying in that upper level. I mean, yeah. Cause sometimes you just want to feel sorry for yourself, but it's like, that's not helping. It really doesn't help to just feel wah, wah. Is that really helping anything? I don't think so.
Yeah. And I agree that it's like, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be forever. I'm always going to do that. Let's just do one at a time. Like, okay, this one thing I'm going through, this one time that I'm going through this one thing for today in this 1 minute, I'm going to say it like this. And then you might not say it for a while, but then you'll say it again. And it's like you're building something one brick at a time.
That's a good idea. I like that. That's really good. I have these chakra flags in my room, in my bathroom actually, and it has mantras printed on them. I wish I could recite to what they each say, but they each talk about each of the chakras, and it says, I'm connected with the earth, and I'm like it has the little mantra there. So I always like kind of pick one as I'm brushing my teeth, and I just read it as I'm brushing my teeth. I'm like, I should not make this hand motion as I'm talking about brushing my teeth. Okay. Let's see. Number 2 said, in a way to freeing yourself from these obsessive thoughts and letting stuff go. Number 2 said to create physical distance. So it's not uncommon to hear someone say that you should distance yourself from the person or situation that is causing you to be upset. According to clinical psychologist Ramani Durvasula, PhD, that's not such a bad idea. Creating physical or psychological distance between ourselves and the person or situation can help with letting go, for the simple reason that we are not having to think about it, process it, or being reminded of it as much. So like removing yourself from the drama. I mean, that's gonna help in my situation. I don't know how much it could help with yours per se,
it does. I swear to God, I had a day off from my kids. Maka took all the kids to Haula, and I instantly felt guilty. Like, gosh, I'm like, I should be with them. And like, did they eat? And control, I'm like, did they eat? Are they sleeping? Because they're nap time. I'm like, I have a system. And I just let it all go. And I literally I finished writing the book for Omea. I started writing a book for Omea 4 years ago. I finished the book. Like I wrote a song. Like I got to just do whatever. I took a shower with loud music on. Usually I have to keep it quiet so I can listen for crying babies. Like it was just, it's so important to physically distance yourself or have like alone time for yourself.
Totally. So as it applies to my situation, I guess just not speaking to that person and not following them, creating the boundary on social media and making sure I'm not going to see stuff that's popping up that's going to be irritating or reminding me of them and what they did to me. Or, you know, I don't have to deal with that. So yeah, it just frees your mind a bit. I love that. So that's great. Loud music in the shower, girl. I forgot that you probably can't do that. That's like what I do.
I know. I used to do that. I thought of all of my single friends who don't have kids. I'm like, they can never complain to me again. Like they can do this every day of the week. Like anytime they want, they can use their nightlight and like watch a movie in their room. I can't do that.
I know, girl. It's a season though. At least you had them. Boom, boom, boom. They're going to be over with it fast. No, just kidding.
No, but I get to sleep next to my baby and like, I'm good with that. But then it's nice when I have that 24 hours break of like, woo, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Number 3 of this list says, do your own work. So focusing on yourself is important. You have to make the choice to address the hurt that you've experienced. When you think about a person who caused you pain, bring yourself back to the present, then focus on something that you're grateful for. I think about McKenna, why McKenna was my guest last week is because I was, telling her, filling her in on all of my drama via text message. And she just started rapid firing like all this, girl, you deserve to focus on you. You need to focus on yourself right now and doing your own work in your own life. It's, like all the things that she's learned in her little journey. And that's like what I needed to hear at the time, just to make sure that putting me first I didn't even think that was an option. I'm kind of just dealing with the stuff in front of me rather than looking at like, hey, I can just flip it and just start looking at myself as a piece of work that I need to work on before I'm trying to fix problems, Is that how you're taking this?
Yes, girl. I feel like it's every time we're dealt with challenges, it's a mirror holding up to our face. Like, girl, look inside. And yeah, I mean, I've been going deep. I literally have been going deep of like, do I have abandonment issues? Do I have all these, like, what are all the things I had as a kid that is now affecting me in my relationships? And how do I heal that? Because that's the point, right? You're digging in and taking care of yourself so you can be better.
Right. I love that they're telling you to call yourself out a little bit. Like maybe you're not perfect. Like maybe you should do your own work, and to how to heal. Number 4 says, practice mindfulness. So it says the more we can bring our own focus to the present moment, says Lisa Oliveira, a licensed a licensed marriage and family therapist, the less impact our past or future has on us. I mean, hello, we're not, never mind. I'm just going to say like, we're not worthy of speaking. We very well could be massage therapists talking out of our ass right now, but we're all learning something from somebody. Let's say, so Lisa Oliveira, a licensed marriage and family therapist, says the less impact our past or future has on us, the more we can focus on the present moment. Yeah. When we start practicing being present, our hurts have less control over us and we have more freedom to choose how we want to respond to our lives. What have you learned about mindfulness in your journey?
I think I needed this like therapy. Yeah, I have a hard time sitting in the unknowing. I have a hard time not having control and just sitting in that moment because there's so much I want to accomplish. There's so much from, it's hard to be just there. But that's been my latest thing is like, it's okay to not know what's the next thing and to only know that you get to breathe another breath right now and that you get to just be here. God. It's the weirdest thing because, I've been trying to meditate for years.
Yeah.
But my mind is can't. But lately I'm like, I can. Like, I don't want to, because I don't want to sit with myself right now in this moment. I want to
Ooh,
be somewhere else, and it's like radical acceptance of the moment. It's hard to do that for me, at least.
totally. No, it definitely is. One of our last guests a few weeks ago was Aaron Barowitz from the band Thrive. And that was one of his 22 goals for 2022, was just to be more present. And that really inspired me to put that on my list too, because yeah, like just like how your last one said, or your other one where you talked about like, I get to be with my kids. Like that's, you're framing it with different glasses when you look at it like that, and everything is not so bad when you look at your around. And that was one of the things we did in rehab too. We had to, before we had our little therapy group sessions, we had to sit and just say nothing and just observe. And we had to all say something that we could feel or see with our eyes. Like, I feel the wind, I see a bird, I hear a blank. Like, you're not saying like, I feel sad. You're not talking about your internal emotions. You're literally just looking around and identifying things around you. And that's supposed to help with mindfulness. So maybe that could be a little tool that people who are just starting out, like learning about what that means to like really be present, just do that. Simply like look around and I see that. I see the sun. I feel it.
Yeah, I think Hawaiians were really good at that, at observation. Kiloaina or kiloaku, right? Is to like look around and experience the rain. They had, I don't know, 500 names for rain. It wasn't just rain. It was like, this is the rain that comes from that mountain that sweeps across here and lands at the ocean. That's the one name of that one rain. So I think that there's poetry in sitting and observing the beauty of life in that exact moment. And one of the things I've been working on is reserving energy, because I could stack my day. I mean, if I let my team, they'll stack at every single minute of my open calendar with stuff, but I have to like block time out so that I can reserve energy for the end of the day, because it's my intention to have a happy and full life with my family. So I have to reserve energy for these kids who really want nothing more than to show me their car rolling down the couch 30 times, just a car going down the couch. And I have to sit there. I don't have to, I get to sit there and watch it without my phone and without knowing that I don't have anything, because everyone knows this is my time, and I get to just be there in that moment. And like, those are the moments, right? So whatever your intention is for your life, whether it's writing or whatever, cooking, it's like reserve energy for that part of your life that matters the most to you, because
I love that.
it's important to do that.
I love that. Even making room for that mindfulness, making room for a mindful meditation, few minutes. Like some people like to do that in the shower. I think Oprah does that in the shower, doesn't she? She said something like that. I think she said she takes a cold shower. Anyway, number 5, I want to keep moving because I'm so grateful for Kimie's time. But I need to make sure she gets her time with her little babies rolling down trucks down the side of the couch. That's very important. Let's talk about being gentle with yourself. If your first response to not be able to let go of a painful situation is to criticize yourself, it's time to show yourself some kindness and compassion. Olivera says, this looks like treating ourselves like we would treat a friend, offering ourselves self-compassion and avoiding comparisons between our journey and the journey of others. Hurt is inevitable, she says, and we may not be able to avoid pain. However, we can choose to treat ourselves kindly and lovingly when it comes. I love that.
I love
Sometimes I'm my own worst critic. We all find ourselves getting the hardest on ourselves sometimes. But yeah, I love that. Just always saying that how you would treat a best friend. And that was another one on our self-care, was like have positive self-talk. And there's that India Ari song, talk to her. When you talk to her like it was somebody. I talk to your mama. Remember?
Yes.
Don't get smart with it.
Have a heart to heart with it, just like
with your daughter. Yep. So that's my jam for that particular number. Because everything you do, I'll say, yep, you got to live with every day. She's somebody's baby. She's somebody's sister. She's somebody's mama. Like that's you, like yourself. Like we got to have compassion and love ourselves. Be gentle with ourselves. Number 6 says, allow the negative emotions to flow. It says, if your fear of feeling negative emotions is causing you to avoid them, don't worry, you're not alone. In fact, someone says that many times people are afraid of feelings such as grief, anger, disappointment, or sadness. Rather than feeling them, people just try to shut them out, which can disrupt the process of letting go. They said these negative emotions are like riptides. Let them flow out of you. It may require mental health intervention, but fighting them can leave you stuck. Feel your feelings, basically, is what it's saying. I love that.
Yes.
We talk about that a lot here on this podcast too. There's no way to go around them. You have to go
The only way is
them.
through it. And that is a very, very hard thing. But I love the serenity prayer for that.
Because share it with us. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
I like it because you have to know the difference, right? Because I want to control and change everything. I want to be able to change everything, but you cannot. Like, death is definitely a real thing that you have no control over, you know? So I love the idea of the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And that's like sitting and feeling all those emotions that you really don't want to feel, but sitting and going through it. And the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference.
That's the difference, right? I think Adiki said it best too. He's like, if you don't do it now, because Adiki was our guest on, we were talking about this exact thing. And he was saying, if you don't do it now, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. You might as well get it over with. That's how he looked at it. He's like, might as well just get it over with.
That's the loop. You're going to keep going in the loop until you go through it.
Yeah. Let's get it over with. Number 7 says, accept that the other person may not apologize. So waiting for an apology from the person who hurt you will slow down the process of letting go. If you're experiencing hurt and pain, it's important you take care of your own healing, which may mean accepting that the person who hurt you isn't going to apologize. Yes, as this applies to my situation, holy shit, it's hard sometimes. I'm not like a real big, like, you need to apologize to me. Like, I'm not that kind of like person. Like I'm down to move on, but sometimes a formal apology when I feel like I've just been done so dirty, I feel like they're going to have to realize that and they're going to have to come around eventually. Right. But then I'm like, maybe not, maybe they're not going to apologize. And I have to accept that. And I guess what they're saying is important to take care of my own healing. Don't rely and wait for this person to apologize. I need to move forward without ever expecting it. Bonus if they do, right? I guess.
Yes. And I would say that people who do apologize are trustworthy. They're worthy to be trusted because it's part of owning their shit, right? And so when they come and they make amends, it's part of it's part of trust, building trust with someone. So if they're not going to, then you just know you can't trust that person because they'll probably do it again.
Ooh, that's another tangent with stuff that I've done that I need to apologize for. But I need to be ready. I need to and
it's about forgiving yourself first. You have to forgive yourself first before you can do that.
Yeah. Let's keep going. Engage in self-care is the next one. When we are hurting, it often feels like there is nothing but hurt. Olivera says practicing self-care can look like setting boundaries, saying no, doing the things that bring us joy and comfort, and listening to our own needs first. The more we can implement self-care into our daily lives, the more empowered we are from that space, our hurts don't feel as overwhelming. So yes, that was exactly what we talked about. All of last podcast was 22 ways to really have self-care and self-love. Can you share with us, Kimie, maybe just a couple of ways that you show self-care for yourself?
Gosh, yeah. I honestly haven't for a long time because I put my kids first and my career and everything else. So it was really like flying by the seat of my pants, so like trying to get as much accomplished. And it was only more recently where I just started like doing more ritual type things. And that's what a lot of really successful people do, is because our body is so important, right? So it's important that we're healthy, we're putting good things in our body and like having these sort of rituals that help to keep us strong so that we can do all of the other things that we want to do. And I heard that. I've heard all of these things, but it became an aha moment when I felt so depleted that I couldn't even my bags under my eyes and just feeling so drained. I had no energy. and I had to make a change. And right now you're catching me mid change. So that it was like perfect timing because something had to give, you know? And I realized that it starts with myself. Like that's so important to take care of yourself and remind yourself that like you deserve this time. Like it's like put your own mask on before you assist your child with an additional mask. Same thing. You gotta do that for yourself. So.
Yes, indeed. I've found that my yoga practice is such an amazing way for me to have self-care because it's like a 3-in-1 for me. Like I get to be alone and really think, but I also get to have like no thinking. Like they force you not to think and just be present in the moment. And then I also get like a workout in where you're sweating and getting rid of all your body's toxins. So I have found that yoga for me is my little sanctuary of self-care. I love it so much.
That was my pregnancy thing, was yoga. I loved yoga, like stretching all of it out. And now I'm super into my hacked Peloton bike. I have like the app and a hacked bike and I do the whole Peloton thing.
Oh, cool.
But that's been like my thing. It's like cycling.
Girl, and you do it at home? You do it just right from your living room? Oh, sickening.
On my phone.
On your phone. That seems convenient. You don't have to leave the house and kids can.
I mean, I have other ways too, but that's like I know I can do 20 minutes no matter what. It's like, it's something that I can do for myself. And I choose the teachers that I feel like are inspiring and, you know, fun.
How many of you guys in the chat have Peloton? Anybody in here? Jeff does. Really? You really do? Oh, cool. Jeff was like,
it's a whole vibe, man. It's fun how they get you to be like community. It's very community based. I don't even have a Peloton. I just have the app, $12 a month. And then I like hooked up a bike with all my stuff.
And what kind of, I went to a cycling class with you once, remember? Before the wedding. But that was the first and only time I've ever done it. For me, hurts.
I like it because it's a mental game. It's like, I can't do this. They're like, you can 30 seconds and you get 2 minutes rest. Come on, 30 seconds. Can you add more weight? Like if they really push you. And for me, I need that like mental breakthrough sometimes. It's more mental for me, but obviously it's physically beneficial too. But I like it and I get to put on my headphones and escape everything else for a little while.
Jeff says it's a cult, but I'm sure in the most positive way.
I don't know. I'm not that deep, so I don't know yet.
Okay. It says, number 9 is surround yourself with people who fill you up, which I'm sure can go right along with that group that you've created, that community. And also this community. But okay, it just says the simple yet powerful tip can help carry you through a lot of hurt. We can't do life alone and we can't expect ourselves to get through our hurts alone either, explains Manly. Allowing ourselves to lean on loved ones and their support is such a wonderful way of not only limiting isolation, but reminding us of the good that is in our lives. Yes, right? Especially during the damn pandemic, it's been so 100%. Hard to stay connected and maintain connection, but you know, we have tools. We just got to find that community, this group, this Aloha Thyself group that we have on the side, this Just Keep Jamming group, you know, whatever workout yoga group you might have, even just friends getting together on Zoom. Like our other best friend, Kahea, almost came on this thing tonight, but she couldn't make it. But getting together as friends on Zoom could be a way that, you know, you can get filled up.
I honestly, for me, I've been now scheduling in like time with my friends because you can never see your friends if you get so busy, you know, and always doing stuff. And so I have to like, it just fills my cup so much to even just hear like what's up with them, you know, and like escape everything or just talk and laugh. It's fun.
And laugh.
Listen to new songs, discover new music.
Totally. I need to do more of that without it surrounding like drinking. Cause that's another thing. Like I sometimes just love to drink with friends and that's fun too. That's super duper fun. But if I could try to do that without having to drink at the same time, I'm sure it'd be even more special.
Yeah. I mean, for me, same thing. Cause it's like part of our socialization and in the scene we're in and like what we do. But because I changed my intention to be like, I want to live a whole healthy life. I try to find like, well, what's something else we can do? And so like literally now, before it was like, want to meet for lunch? But now I'm like, what, you want to meet at Almoana Beach Park and like walk around the block? Because one of the things I want to do is like get outside. Like, why are we always
Yes.
inside when we live in Hawaii, you know, especially in Hawaii? So it's like, let's just get out and take a walk and talk story. Same thing as sitting down for lunch, but you're like doing something healthy.
Yes. That's such a good
Yeah.
idea. I love that. Come on a walk with me or a hike with me, or like even just go to the beach with me. That'd be
Yeah.
cute.
Like,
I love that. Okay, number 10 says give permit. There's 12 total. So number 10 is give yourself permission to talk about it. So when you're dealing with painful feelings or a situation that hurt you, it's important to give yourself permission to talk about it. They said sometimes people can't let go because they feel they aren't allowed to talk about it. This may be because people around them no longer want to hear about it, or the person is embarrassed or ashamed to keep talking about it. But talking about it is important. That's why they say recommending finding a friend or therapist who is patient and accepting, as well as willing to be your sounding board. Woo! So, I mean, there's another part that talks about there's a number 12 is to seek professional help, but we can touch on the therapy part here as well, just because I have been taking advantage of all the forms of me being able to get it out. Like I'm telling, I call Kimie. She was one of the first people I called when I needed a sounding board, you know, to just bounce my drama off of. But then, you know, you don't want to burden somebody and only one person. So I have my therapist too. And they don't know anybody. I have to like fill them in every week on this drama and give them updates, but they're not going to tell anybody. Like I trust my therapist. So it's almost like so good just to get it out. It's almost like purging this like little demon inside of me that's like, I can just get it out. And then I'm like, oh, I feel better. All right. And then I move on with my life. Like you don't want to do that necessarily to your friends all the time because yeah, like it says, you might feel like you're burdening them or you're embarrassed even, but talking to a stranger can really make that feeling feel real good. It's like getting it out.
you know me, Anu, like, you know me. I have a really hard time talking about it, about anything. I'm not a very like, I'm kind of open, but like I have a
No,
shell.
you're not like a woe is me. Like that's the thing. Like you don't want to talk about shitty shit that's happening to you or anything. Like
Yeah.
that's
Because
you.
I think I was my therapist. I have a therapist, thank God. So I've been talking to a therapist, which has encouraged me to really start digging deep and talking. And this is like probably one of the most true things of everything and the hardest thing I've had to do because I don't gossip. I know all kinds of things and I never talk about it. I don't call a friend and say, "Oh my God, I have to tell you what happened." I don't ever do that. And after talking with my therapist, it almost did lighten. I feel lighter and I realized, gosh, I gotta like, just like how my friends call me, Anna, you call me, like I have to do the same. And I realized like since I was a kid, I always felt like I had to be the one to hold my shit together. Like for my mom, for my dad, for my brothers. I'm the youngest kid, but now with my own family, when we lost someone and she passed away and I felt like I couldn't cry or feel, I had to hold it together. And then the same thing happened when me and my partner are having hard times or when my kids are going through stuff. Like I just kind of bottle everything up and I don't talk about it. And that does not help me or serve me or help me get through it. So the best thing I've learned through therapy, thank God, is like just you have to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, giving yourself permission to talk about it. I think that's something for you. Like you said, like your whole life, you grew up thinking that you had to keep yourself together. But yeah, just allowing yourself be like, no, I'm allowed to feel, you know, scared or vulnerable or frustrated too. And I deserve to be able to share it. And, you know, I want to make sure that, you know, you can always tell me anything. I know I freaking tell you, I dump so much on you. But you can tell me, girl. I love you.
I know. And that's why I'm really trying to make it a point now of like, you know, I watch movies where like all these girls are sitting, you know, I never really made that a point to also be vulnerable. Because it's scary to be vulnerable, right? And like, I don't want to see the bad parts. I only want to see the good parts. But is that healthy? And like you said, you're going to keep going in a loop until you go through it. And so that's why I need the serenity prayer. And that's why you need all this love and care for yourself so that you can breathe and just, okay, here I go. Take a step
Talk
into
about
it.
it. Into
Yeah.
it. Yeah, let's do it. With that, number 11 goes to give yourself permission to forgive. So since waiting for the other person to apologize can stall the process of letting go, you may have to work on your own forgiveness. So forgiveness is vital to the healing process because it allows you to let go of anger, guilt, shame, sadness, or any other feeling you may be experiencing and move on. So, yep, of course, like I I really do I really do like forgive this person for doing what she did. Cause you know what? I just look at it as it's the best that she knew how to deal with it and with her upbringing. Like, even forgiving your parents for that they put you through as a kid, that's what they always tell you in therapy. Like they're only doing what the best they could do with the knowledge that they were given at that particular point in time. Like I really truly believe that because my son could probably say stuff about me someday and I would want him to understand like I'm just doing the best I can for you, my son. Like, so yeah, forgiving others is such a big burden off of your shoulders once you get it. There's so many quotes about that too, like a hot coal, like having resentment or anger is like holding a hot coal in your hand, right? Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one getting burned. So that's why forgiveness is just so important.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is that we are so centered on ourselves that we forget that it's not personal. Like whatever they're doing and whatever's going on with them has actually nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. And like the moment you release that, it's easier to forgive because you're not like, you did this to me. It's like, no, you did this because of you and all the things with you and like my parents and everyone in my life. It's very hard to see that when you're in it. But once you can like get outside of it and like look at it from the outside as it's happening, you can see it differently when you realize that it's not personal. Don't take it personally.
Yeah. Isn't that one of the four agreements?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And number 12, last but not least, was to seek professional help. If you're struggling to let go of a painful experience, you may benefit from talking to a professional. Sometimes it's difficult to implement these tips on your own and you need experienced professional help to guide you through the process. I wish I was sponsored by betterhelp.com because I keep talking about this damn platform. It is my favorite. It is the best, easiest way to get a therapist if you don't have one through your insurance or you don't really know how to get one. Just go to betterhelp.com. It's an app and they'll partner you up with a therapist in your area or that's licensed in your area that you can talk to and you can chat with them. You can have video calls or you can just email them or you can just talk to them on the phone. And that's what I started about a year and 3 months ago. I started therapy and it absolutely like changed my life. It changed my life so much. Just being able to talk to even just a stranger about what you're going through. Like I said, it's like you're dumping, like that's what they're getting paid for. You're dumping and they know how to get rid of it off of their backs, and plus they don't know you. So it's not like it's going to be, you don't have to feel bad about it. Cause that's what I was kind of sometimes feel bad about, oh my God, talking to friends, you don't want to burden them, but this therapist, they're getting paid for it. Go get professional help and they have the best feedback sometimes too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say for those who are like weary of therapy, because I know, especially like my partner and other men that I know are like, I don't need that. Like they don't believe in it. But if you believe that like an athlete needs a coach or there's, in other ways you seek professionals for other things, then maybe you're looking at it different, like from the wrong way. And you could look at it at a different way and also know that there are so many options. Like it doesn't have to be a therapist. There are so many professionals. There are life coaches. There are literally like gurus and spiritual leaders and like whatever, crystal ball readers, like pastors. Yeah. Like you have to find your intention for yourself. What do you want to get out of it? And know that there are guides in this world. There are teachers on this physical plane, like in this world that we can utilize. And it's a bummer if you don't. Totally. You would get a tax guy to do your taxes.
Right. No, that's such a good point. I mean, I wonder like, why did all the people in this group, why do they keep coming back, week after week? Is it because of this thing? Like, we're not professionals, but you're getting something out of it, right? Like you're getting that sense of community.
That's true. Yeah. And you could be a part of a community like this, and it's the same form of therapy, but exactly. And then, but there is something about that one-on-one, like just about you, where you get to be about you for a while, and they're there to listen. That's really unique too. I think I honestly need a combo, and like, I need a combo, this side of this, add an extra splash of that, this and that, like, and I need the ocean. Like that's part of my therapy, and music and community, friends, my therapist, like church, whatever. Like
write yourself your own prescription. Yeah. It's like a prescription of what is working for you. I love it. I know my prescription is doing this, like talking on this podcast. Like no matter how many people are listening out there, like even if one person was listening, I think I would still do it just because it is so therapeutic for me just to kind of blah, 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 and like get it out. So whatever it is that works for you, I encourage everybody to figure that out for themselves and do it. So yeah, freeing yourselves from obsessing thoughts or unhappy feelings. I think we did a good job in really getting down to some ways that we can really get shit off of our backs. For me, writing songs is another way, and writing in my journal. I think that's part of probably the self-care, category, right?
For sure. Just having time to write down. I mean, you're way more likely to do the things that you plan if you write them down. And like that has to become part of your thing. Gratitude is part of my thing. I don't get to do it every day, but I really love to do the 5 things I'm grateful for. And on our team calls, for all the stuff I'm doing in the business side of stuff, we always start with 2 things we're grateful for. And like, it doesn't matter if we have 5 calls, there's different people on every call, and I make everyone say it because it's for themselves mainly, but it's also for us to remind ourselves like, hey, we're not just here to do this. Like we're humans and we have real things happening, and we have to remember the things that we're grateful for.
That's such a good idea. I love that idea so much. We should do that here. You guys, should we implement that idea from Kimié in here instead of going around and just saying like where you're from? We should all go around and say 2 things we're thankful for and when we meet every week. That's such a good idea. Does anyone else have any stories that they want to share or anything that they want to share about just letting go? Like maybe I could get some inspiration on how I can intertwine this with real life stories. Like
I have one.
Yeah.
Hi everybody. Aloha.
Hi.
Well, I just have a little imagery to pop in when I was thinking about it, all connected. But when I think of letting go, I was just thinking about my daughter on the monkey bars and the joy she has from being able to maneuver to get to the other bar. And the only way she can do that is if she really pulls her energy back to let go to be able to catch the next rung. The force you use in your life to take the risks, you may feel like you're moving backwards and maybe falling back, but you moving backwards is actually the catapult to momentum you forward to the next step in your life. So I know that's kind of deep for something so simple, but
no, it's beautiful.
Get to the next rung. So I just
I love that, girl.
If I can add on to that, there's things that we forget. Like kids are fearless. Like my daughter was the same thing. They're fearless, right? They don't have like her anticipation, the excitement of getting from one rung to the next. There's no fear in her heart. There's no fear in her spirit to be able to do that. But as we grow older, we become more cautious. What I've learned in letting go for myself, and I won't go too deep, is like familial, is letting go of things, but trusting that something will fill in that puka. Because there's going to be there's always a hole that's pulled behind it. And I have family, but most of my family are Hanai. Like I have a little sister who's not blood. My daughter's my stepdaughter. I have parents who are like my aunt and uncle, but I love it. And I'm thriving in that environment because I had to let go of things from the past. But go back to what you shared is that childhood lack of fear that I'd be able to grab something on the other side and know that it's going to fill in behind me. But as we grow old, we forget that. We lose sight of that, and our spirits and our hearts become so cautious because of all the things that we allow happening to us. But if we could see the world through the lens of like your daughter and my daughter, it's like, wow, if we could only do that, it would be so hard to do.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
That was so beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Just to eliminate the fear and to be fearless again. That's pretty cool. That's part about letting go is just being fearless with it. Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share at the end here? We are just about wrapped up. This is kind of a quicker one this week, but I loved it because it's definitely helped me in my personal situation.
Like, I think this was great. And honestly, like, I'm so stoked that you asked me to be here today. And I'm so stoked to see from the last time I was here, like, so many familiar faces, and that this is a very important community, and it matters, it really matters. These conversations matter. And something that I've learned is like just the power of breath. Like, even when you're singing, you have to have the right breath to sing, but even just to speak or to be, or like be present and all that, like, it's to think that like it's the only organ that you get to control in your body, is like your lungs, your breath. Really, with breath, you can control your brain and all the rest of your body. You can change everything in your body just by breathing. So I think that's like step one of letting go. It's like, just take a breath. And then these tools that you talked about are amazing. And I actually learned a lot and gained a lot from this conversation. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, my besticle. I love you so much.
I love you. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I love you so much, Kimie.
Take care.
Bye. Okay, I gotta go, guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everything.
Love you too. Thank you.
See you guys later.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
guys. Love
Bye,
you all.
To learn more about Kimié Miner, follow her on Instagram at PlayKimié, PlayKimie. Join my Patreon ohana. Go to anuheajams.com/Patreon, Patreon. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week.